Hey, Sean.
Hey Scott, how you doing?
I'm alive. How are you?
I'm alive as well.
That's what's up. Yeah, I guess I'll stop sharing my screen. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday.
I feel like the days are getting longer now. What is it?
Maybe they are in Florida.
Is it
Huh?
equinox or solstice? What's that term for the shortest day and longest day?
I think it's the winter solstice.
Okay.
Is it the summer equinox then?
I'm not sure.
Well, there's a summer solstice. I don't know what the equinox is. Let's check that out.
Equinox sounds like it stems from equator.
Maybe it's one that like crosses the equator. I don't know.
Trivia question. What is the prime meridian?
Oh man, I haven't thought about that in a long time. Is that the space? Is that the distance between the pole and the equator? Like the center or the median point? I can't remember.
Mm, I don't know. I thought it was like latitude, and I thought it was like I gotta look it up. This is from like middle school, but I thought your equator runs like horizontal, like longitude, and I thought the prime meridian ran latitude, but I don't remember the details. Prime.
Oh, you're right. It is the center. Goes right through London or Britain or something.
Okay. I'm not sure how it's used, but
I don't know. It sounds like a Prime Meridian sounds like the leader of some sci-fi group. He's the Prime Meridian. We're
that's
the
a great.
Meridians, and he is the Prime Meridian.
I should change my internet handle from Bismonger to Prime Meridian.
There you go. So the equinoxes are day and night of equal length. So they're the
Oh,
median,
okay.
like the solstices are the longest uh, and shortest days. The equinoxes are the equal
So
length day and nights, I guess.
I assume each region has its own equinox because that would only make sense. Like in Alaska, don't they have like 23 hours of day and night at some time during their solstice?
I'm not sure. I'm guessing so.
Yeah.
Is it if you're in the summer solstice in the north hemisphere? Are you in the winter solstice then in the southern hemisphere? I'm guessing, and vice versa. I don't know, man.
Uh,
You been killing it on your project this week, or
hold on. I'm trying to imagine your last question because like the Earth is a rotisserie, right? And it's slanted so many degrees, and it's just going like this the entire time, just rotisserie.
I never thought
Um,
of to imagine us as a giant rotisserie.
but it is.
Yeah, if the Earth
Um,
is a rotisserie, then
we're just vertical and at an angle.
we're heat resistant bacteria that's growing on the rotisserie Earth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm into stuff like that. Um, my project, I'm just driving to just do like 3 hours a day on it at like 1 hour, like units. It's coming. Like, I just try to remind myself of the book by, I think it was by Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect. And I just try to keep that in mind that consistency over time should equal results. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all.
Dang it! Now you got me thinking. Do you think that somebody could build a chicken rotisserie that is that is a model of the Earth's rotation
Hey,
around.
GZB. Oh,
You know, like those they've got those
for
rotation
the
like.
pigs.
Well, no. Have you seen? Well, you've probably seen a chicken rotisserie, but then they've got the sun. They've got the solar system or Earth rotation models where they're like a. I don't know how to describe it. It's like you spin them manually, and then it shows the rotation of the Earth where it's supposed
Yeah.
to recognize it. I'm just thinking about making one of those into a chicken rotisserie now, like where the sun's a heat source, and then I don't know. Then you put a chicken where the Earth would be, and
Yeah, but
it
with the
rotates.
globe, you usually spin it by hand for it to do a rotation. At least that's how it was when I was in elementary school and middle school.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you could put a motor on it or whatever, but
Yeah.
and then
GZB says hi.
GCB.
We're talking about the I don't even know what the word is.
What was the solstice and equinox first?
Well, we were talking about it's not really idea. We're talking about the perspective, for lack of a better term, of the Earth just being a really, really big rotisserie, um, and how it's like rotisserie chicken in regards to its relationship to the sun. So,
Yeah, and that was in response to the equinoxes and solstice. And then I thought about making an actual chicken rotisserie that has a sun heater in the middle. Well, that'd be a real waste of electricity, I'm sure.
no blockchain is, but
Probably a waste of gas, actually, I suppose, depending on how you power this rotisserie.
you think blockchain is sustainable?
I have no idea. You mean
Uh,
just like mining and stuff like that?
the amount of power required. Yeah,
Uh, as long as we can, I suppose, as long as we can figure out a different power source for it. I mean, I don't know. You know, the Earth is constantly being hit with new energy, so maybe I don't know. Really don't know. We need to find a way to do computing with a lot less power, maybe. Call it cold computing. I don't know. There's a lot of waste in computing in terms of energy usage, I suppose.
especially when you have bad programmers. But I'll tell you one thing though: if a lone developer is paying for cloud computing, they code review their own code. I know I do that. I'm like, let me make sure I don't. Let me make sure I'm not making any unnecessary calls. Let me make sure I minimize the amount of out of process calls to other cloud computing resources. I do that.
Yeah. Well, that's a good practice, but I mean, just in general, I always code review. Like, I think a rule that I have is if you're going to open pull requests, be the first reviewer of your own pull requests. Because, like, I don't know how many times I've opened something and then I've looked at it and gone, oh crap, what did I do here?
Maybe you can code review a function that I wrote. I have a feeling you're going to bring up some thoughts that make me have to delete everything. Has that ever happened in a code review where like someone just saw it from a very different perspective and you ended up agreeing and you just had to do a rewrite?
Yeah. Yeah.
The question is, shouldn't everybody have experienced that before? And do you deem them in the interview if they say no? So here's some, why did I say table operations? Where's my operations at? So this is like courier payroll service. Ultimately, stuff revolves around a cash out request, right? This request cash out.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is I need to buy a book on security because I'm dealing with money. I need to try to minimize people running scripts to hack me. Where's my request thing at? Uh, so I need to actually buy a book on Amazon. Hopefully, whatever's latest and greatest. So, do you read up on security, or do you not care about that stuff as much?
I care about it in terms of like the OWASP top 10 and preventing injection attacks and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of the like baseline of what a developer who works in like an e-commerce type space should have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, thing is a lot of that. Well, there's other types of attacks that you need to be worried about that's not related to credit cards, but for credit cards, a lot of the risk is taken on by the provider, as long as you're not shuffling the card data through your own resources. If you do everything with tokens, it's really pretty safe on your part.
I'm actually, I don't think my code is legible for you to read, so I'm going to cancel that request.
What is it supposed to do?
So courier makes some deliveries, and they want to cash out the commission that they accrued, and so I was playing with how to model that using types, and at first it was okay. Courier ID and the amount that they want to cash out. And I'm like, hold up, that's probably not right, because how much security concerns do I have to build into my backend to make sure that they don't overdraft or anything? And like, is it really just an arbitrary amount that they cash out from the client? Or should a cash out be a list of transactions, and then an amount is extracted from that list? And then I'm like, hold up, is it really a list of transactions and then amount is extracted, or is it a list of unpaid deliveries? And so I just started refining, and treating it more like a ledger that has like a method attached to it. So a ledger is a data structure with a method attached to it, hence a record with a method dangling from it. And I just started iterating on that. Just trying to think through how can I write this once without something going wrong, or without someone gaming the system that easily. And so that's what I've been working on probably for the last maybe 3 days and maybe 7 to 9 hours. So that's all. I get nervous when I write code that revolves around financial transactions.
Yeah, I mean, as you should,
because it's my money that's going into the pool, and then when couriers cash out, I'm transferring my money or a portion of my money in this pool to their account. So I don't want to lose my money because someone figured out how to hack it. So
yeah. The big thing is, I suppose, is you need corrective actions involved. I mean, if they can transfer the money, they'll try something, I'm sure.
yeah.
It's
So
ability
then
to undo or to request fraud or whatever, to undo fraud or whatever. So
Yeah. So what they really pass in is a list of delivered IDs. And then with those delivered IDs, hence when a delivery is made, a GUID gets generated that correlates to that delivered like product or whatever. And so I then like on the back end take those delivered IDs and then retrieve the transactions from them and the bounties that are attached to those transactions. It's just I'm just iterating on it, trying to figure out, trying to minimize the amount of financial details that a client has, so that they're less likely to game the system. They have to pass in these tokens, aka delivered IDs, per transaction that they've made that they haven't collected on, and I check to see if those transactions were collected, meaning were already paid out. And if they haven't, then I check to see what the details are before I process it. So I figure I'll probably be done probably by this weekend on that part. So
cool. How much you have left then for Easter?
I have to. Oh yeah, and all this is relying on a event store, right? So a list of historical events that I filter on courier ID, and then I look for a delivered event, and then I take that information. So it's not relying on a mutable database that someone can just manipulate that easily, right? So there should only be one. To answer your question, how much do I have left? I still got to build the UI for cash out, which is really just a page with the accrued commission that they can collect and a cash out button. And then I got to also wire up the transaction reports on the courier app to the actual like event store recorded transactions. I'm sure there's other things, but that's pretty much it that I could think of.
Then
there's cosmetic updates with formatting the UI on the customer app, but like beta, it's all about the courier app and them collecting their money and them looking at reports of the work that they've done, aka the deliveries that they've done. Yeah.
Did you get the card thing all figured out with Stripe then, in terms of requesting cards for the couriers?
I have that link saved, so you can automate shipping a card to their address. Like all that could be automated. I think I still want to meet them, right, and personally hand deliver their bank card. I think I do want to do that. I want to respect child labor laws. I want to make sure that they don't look too dirty or look like they have too many issues, right? You want the customer to be able to receive their product or whatever from someone that looks clean enough. So like trust, right? So I'm sure that's a conversation about stereotypes, but yeah, I want someone to be, I don't know, there's a lot of things. This is my first time actually getting this far with something that's this significant or complex. And so I just want to make sure that if and when, which is a high probability, that I don't gain traction, that I did my due diligence. And that's it, right? So
you're still gonna hire a boat to run a flag across the beach?
it's possible. I mean, I've built up my bank account. It depends on how much the price is. I don't remember. Man, we went to that website like a year and a half ago, didn't we?
Yeah, that was probably nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah. If it's there's a couple things. I'm not sure. I could rent a boat Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or I could just buy a boat. What's it called, a pontoon or something? We had this conversation.
Well, pontoon, yeah, is like a platform with well, they're literally pontoons. They're giant. I don't know what
Yeah,
it's
I
called,
think.
but
I mean,
floating.
when I was at like it's called Lock and Bass down here in Florida. I think that's what it's called. Give me a second. What is it called?
Like a Bass Pro Shop or something, or
Lock and Bass. It's the outdoors store. They're like really big. I don't know what the name of it is. Is there a chain of stores that you know of that's outdoor, like
Bass Pro Shops, I believe. But I don't
in
know.
Florida? In Florida, I thought it was called something else. Actually, yeah, that looks like it. Okay, yeah. So those pontoons over there, I'm not sure if they're large enough. They're like 25,000. Of course, I don't have a house to park the boat in the driveway. So then there would be marina fees of probably like 500 or 400 at the cheapest. I don't know. Like to me, I have to do it at least once. But the question is, do I rent it or I just buy it and then I go to sandbar parties and a whole bunch of other things, and it's still business deductible. I mean, how many people can actually like deduct a boat as a business expense? So
There's some people, but
well,
yeah, it would be kind of fun.
Corporations and professional like
Professional fishermen,
fishermen.
yeah, or yeah. I don't know. I suppose any business who buys a boat for whatever reason could probably deduct it as long as they're using it for work purposes.
Well, I mean, for business retreats, I don't know, but yeah, I'll still do it. I feel like I don't have a choice. The question is, would I do a big screen? And no, I'm not going to buy a boat and then buy a probably like a $40,000 screen to sit on top of it. But I mean, I will probably buy a boat and attach those type of kites that you attach to a plane that flies over the beach that promotes nightclubs and stuff. I'll probably do that maybe. But then it has to be like a relatively windy day in order for that to succeed. I think at that size of a kite, that would be legible from probably 100 yards away, hence where the cones are. That separates the jet skiers from the swimmers in the ocean. So
Yeah, might be cheaper just to print off a million flyers and walk the beach and hand them out.
it's too time consuming.
You could pay someone to do it.
You say it's cheaper. Yeah, I could pay some people to do it. But then it's like, well, how can I validate that they're actually doing it? Right? How do I know that they're not just doing it for the first 20 minutes and then they just throw the flyers away and then they just hang out? Like, unless you assign some type of like commission for that area that you put them in, saying, all right, the only way that they're going to know about this is through these flyers that you have. So I want you to cover this half mile area, and the transactions that get generated, you get $1 per transaction or something like that.
Yeah.
And so,
Or you
and that
find
was
someone
things like,
else, or you find someone else and pay them to watch the person handing out the flyers.
yeah,
Or you pay them after it's done. I don't know.
it makes a whole argument of, damn, why can't I have a business partner that is just as committed and incentivized to see this through so that I don't have to deal with this, and someone that actually has an interest in marketing and sales, right?
Yeah.
But the majority of people that I come across is, oh, well, what are you paying me? And it's like, no, I'm looking for a partner. I'm not looking for an employee. I'm looking for a partner, right? That means that you get out what you put in.
Well, who are you approaching for
And
that kind of thing, though? 'Cause software engineers, like we're not. Most of us aren't really like, yeah, partners or whatever. We got families and crap to pay for. But are you reaching out to business students at a college?
no,
That'd be, people who dream of starting their own business, are young, don't have any attachments, and have a lot of time and energy on their hands. I'd be going to a business school and reaching out to fish for a partner through there.
I think I'm just going to hire a fleet of women in bikinis. And
that thought crossed my mind.
yeah, it's like they do it for cars and motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
And like, guys are so dumb that they will pay for a conversation, right? I don't know if you ever surf Twitch and you see like women in their bikinis talking about absolutely nothing, right? And they get donations from these simps. Like, yeah, so I feel like I can't really go wrong with that formula. So you do a boat, but that has high costs, or you can hire some pretty girls in some G strings and have them work, have them run the track. I'm not sure what they'll charge. My hope is they just want to be seen. I'm not sure what the money looks like. Hey, Gambler, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't do a lot of perusing of that myself, so I don't know what the costs would be. So
Yeah,
probably expensive.
but here's the thing. Unless there's a third option that I'm not considering, with a boat, people can see it and they don't have to be approached, meaning that they don't have to be bothered, especially if like if they're older or if they're with their family or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the hotels that sit on the beach that offer chairs and umbrellas and all that stuff. And I could give them flyers, get them on my team. I don't know. I'm kind of getting overwhelmed just thinking about it. So
Yeah. Well, maybe don't think about it anymore right now. You still have a long ways to go with the getting the thing built out and tested. It's gonna be it'll be fun, I'm sure. You're just gonna have to set your family or girlfriend or whatever out on the beach and say order something from me, and then make sure it all delivers.
Well, it doesn't even have to be on the, well, I guess on the beach for GPS to make sure that it's still relatively easy to identify a person on the beach. I guess so. But then, yeah, whatever. We'll see. What else is there to talk about?
Not much. I'm in the honeymoon phases of a new job, so I don't really have a lot of angst or stuff to really complain about or to discuss. It's been a pretty chill week.
Are you learning anything that's mind-boggling?
No, not really. So mostly same stuff that I've seen before, kind of thing.
I threw some money at GameStop and lost immediately.
I wouldn't have seen it going up anymore after the initial, fire sale or whatever the heck it was. But
I had bought it at like around $100, and then it promptly dropped to like $60 the next day. I'm like, okay, yeah. But I didn't. It was very, very low percentage of my portfolio that I put on it. So
gotcha. Yeah, it's $53 now. Yeah, the two spikes are hilarious. Like hit 320 bucks, and now it's back down to 50. And it was at like considerably less than that. Oof.
yeah, I did buy American Airlines and Airbnb, and I've pretty much made like close to 7% in the last 2 days on both of them. So we'll see.
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta figure out some sort of project to do or whatever. Get back on my things.
You keep saying that.
Something that can hold my attention as well as I don't know how you do it, how you keep your attention on something so long. It's really difficult, man.
I think it's lifestyle. One is I don't have three other people depending on me. Like if I were in your situation, I would think that it's borderline impossible to focus 1 hour at a time. And I'm just talking about 1 hour at a time. I would think it's impossible if I have like three other people in the house with me.
Nah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's possible. I've done it before plenty of times. I mean,
you could do increments of that throughout the day?
During the evenings and stuff, probably.
Yeah.
It's more like the longer term focus. It's not so much finding it during the day. It's not being like, yeah, I don't really want to work on this anymore. Go on to something else. Like my fantasy console, like I was all gung ho about it for a month. Actually, I don't know. Maybe had I continued to be unemployed for longer, it would have been a different story.
I think it would have been.
Having all that time during the day, it's really easy to get the energy and to want to build something. But when you're when you're constructing all day and spending your mental energy, it's like you just want to reload.
Yeah, I think the difference with my workflow versus a lot of other people is they'll go like full throttle and they'll probably put in like on average 5 hours or more a day on their passion project or their entrepreneur thing. And then they burn out usually probably after a month or 2 months. And they just, or it takes them a really, really, really long time and they're making more mistakes than solutions based on the amount of hours that they're just putting in consistently. With me, I don't know, maybe it's analogous to microdosing. Like I literally just do a 1 hour increment up to 3 times a day. And I just record me thinking out loud. And it's more therapeutic than it is anything else. But if I don't have serious pressure on me from the outside world, hence like multiple clients that also want work done from me, etc., it really is just therapeutic. And I treat it as a kata. I really do. This is a long-term coding kata, which I just periodically take 1 hour units, 2 to 3 of them throughout the day. And I just record myself working through a problem. I exercise my mind. Just like older people do Sudoku, I treat this as like a hands-on Sudoku with a keyboard. That's my mentality. I just keep doing it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's to keep that focus is difficult, even if it is just in short bursts or whatever. Because I don't know, when I get going on something, it's like I really want to get going on it.
Yeah, you do marathons.
Yeah.
You do marathons. Like I'll catch you at like, I don't know what times I catch you, but I'll catch you and then I'll go ahead and run some errands. I'll come back like 4 hours later. I still see you live streaming. Then I'll go to the beach, come back. I still see you live streaming. I'm like, okay, is this really sustainable?
Maybe I should live stream. I've got in April, I got Ludum Dare coming up again. I could live stream that all weekend. Do the full 48-hour live stream.
I do want to do I want to do a marathon coding thing from like a Thursday to a Sunday afternoon. I wish there was some type of platform for me to join to do that.
Well, you should just do the game, Ludum Dare Game Jam. It's basically the same thing.
Because I would easily do that like quarterly throughout the year. Just do a marathon programming thing.
Yeah, it's twice a year. No, it used to be 3 times a year.
GZB, you do not want to watch me marathon programming. You'll just see me surfing music videos half the time to keep me in the zone. That's something I also do. Is and they block it on both platforms now. But I'll just start bumping some like usually it's gangster music, gangster rap as I'm programming. And so I'm just bobbing my head, going back and forth between the videos, admiring the women in the videos, and then going back to my coding editor. I mean, for me, it's just very casual. So
yeah. When I'm coding with music and stuff like that, I tend to listen to the same song over and over again. It's like if I listen to new songs, I get distracted so easily. Like I've been listening to there's a song called Cry Little Sister. I think it was from the Lost Boys soundtrack or something like that, but there's a band called Ashbury Heights. It's like a kind of I don't know what they classify themselves as. But they did a cover of that song, and I've been listening to that pretty much on loop for the last week. Ashbury Heights is a Swedish electronic music duo.
GZB, I didn't know you like gangster rap. Said he misses the songs on my stream. Who's Dua Lipa? He has given her 2,000 views in January. No, but like you say that you struggle to concentrate if you listen to like newer music or something like that. But half the time, I'm not like creating some new algorithm. I'm refining my model, like I'm refactoring. Like I don't need to concentrate to rename things or to decide that this property doesn't really belong in this record. Let me get rid of it. Like it's no, I just bob my head and then just refactor it. Most of the work that I most of the coding that I do is modeling. Like I'm literally just refining the types before I commit to an integration test. That's pretty much it. If you need refactoring, you don't architect well. Is that a joke? I would say I'm not sure if you're kidding or if you're being serious, but
I think the thing is if you can't refactor, you didn't architect well, or if you're unable to refactor, you didn't architect well. Architecting kind of facilitates refactoring because we tend to get it wrong, not because of because our coding practices are wrong, but our mental model changes, or the mental model was wrong in the first place. But sometimes that's not our fault. We have to build a mental model from other people or from incomplete data that we try to go through. But I don't know.
And the question is, what's the definition of architect, right? Because right now, my thought process is when someone quote unquote architects as a verb, that they're making integration decisions, and they're performing integration based on components that are supposed to snap together, right? Is there really architecting if I'm just defining my types within a subdomain of the business, right? If I'm just declaring classes or records, is that really architecting?
No, I think you're working within an architecture in that regards, right?
Yeah.
Your architecture is pretty well figured out. Well, I guess it depends, but like, are you making structural decisions or are you making functional decisions? So,
And at the end of the day, I mean, I almost never write client side, server side, data transfer structures and write it just once and it's right. Like I'll always have to go back, add something, remove something, change the data type of a property name. I guess I am a bad architect. But at least I'm a hands-on architect. All right. So
yeah. You just draw pretty pictures and pass them off, man. Go code this.
yeah. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Let me look up F# jobs.
I don't know. News has been pretty boring since the turn of last month or whatever.
Some FBI agents got gunned down in Florida. I think in Miami. I don't know. Do you follow like headline news?
Sometimes. I've been less interested in it now, but it's like I said, it's gotten boring. So
I see. Let me share my screen real fast. My thing is, hold up for a second. Why Do you see all this twitching? Okay, now you don't.
Yeah, well, I don't like. I see.
You see that?
Yeah,
Like, if
I
I
don't know.
move my cursor, then it happens. What if I say hide? Does that do anything? No. If I bring down, pull back up. Yeah, that's weird. It's been doing that the whole time that I've been streaming, talking to you.
That's odd.
Seeing these F# developer positions. I'll apply to these later. But I don't like the fact that they. Do you ever go to? Well, you got a new job, so I guess not. All these jobs, like they want you. Half of them, they want you to like spend 5 minutes registering a account on some job board. I don't want to do that. Yeah, like apply on free classifieds. Then you got all this right here. Yeah, I'm straight.
Giblo. I don't know.
I feel like Bill Cosby should be getting out of prison soon. Oh, whatchamacallit, Screech died.
Yeah, saw that. That's not.
What's invite to Clubhouse? What does that mean, GZB?
You must have had something pop up on a.
Oh, okay. There you go. More. Yeah, Screech died from lung cancer. I'm like, apparently he didn't smoke, or he claims he didn't smoke. That caught me off guard when I saw it.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd, like out of the blue kind of a thing. Like everyone knows it, not everyone, but there's a lot of people who know who Screech was because it was just such an iconic character. But suddenly, poof! I don't even know the guy's name. Just it's his Screech.
No one does. No one does.
What's his
Just
name
like
again?
no one knows Stephen Urkel's name.
Yeah, Urkel.
Stefan Urkel.
Dustin Diamond. That's even
Yeah.
like a pretty cool name. Like I'm Dustin Diamond.
The question is that his
Probably-
legitimate name?
Oh, maybe.
Or is that his Hollywood name?
I'm sure Wikipedia.
Like, was he born with that name, or did he change it to become an actor?
Yeah, it was probably like something really boring.
Blue Diamond Phillips. Like, why can't it just be Blue Phillips? Why does it have to be Blue Diamond Phillips? Like, it's weird how people will change their names to increase the probability of getting hired for a movie. Like, if that's not something that's like a human element, I don't know what is.
Yeah, he it looks like that's his name is Dustin Neil Diamond.
Okay.
I guess his parents must have been pretty big fans of Neil Diamond.
Yeah, I don't know. The more I age, the more it reminds me that the clock is ticking. Like, I'm sure old people, like after a while, like they know so many people that are dead. That has messed with their psyche, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I remember my grandpa and talking about how all of his friends were dying around him. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of makes you want to like. I think about that, and I think of like retirement plans and all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to retirement. I'll probably die before then. All this is useless.
Yeah.
And if
Like,
not, they're not gonna let me retire till I'm like 80 anyways. So in terms of getting cash or payouts on the money that I've put into this stuff. So
I know 2 people that were murdered in high school. I know 1 person that overdosed. Like, I'm thinking about like the people I went to school with and who's still left. I'm sure that there's probably some that probably went to the military and got killed, maybe. Yeah, it kind of makes you wish that there was something on the other end to look forward to.
Yeah, well, you can dream, I suppose. There could be, or there might be the same, more of the same. It could just be reincarnation all over.
Well, I hope there is, and I hope it's on a different planet in a different galaxy.
That'd be kind of neat.
What's the point of being reincarnated back to Earth? Like, as expansive as this universe is, why would the spirit return to something that is already done? Even if it ups up, like, yeah, I upped up my life on planet Earth. I'm about to go to planet Zarin over in the Gargantuan Nebula, 3,500 light years away. I made all that stuff up.
Yeah. There's not any proof for reincarnation.
I agree.
Well, the thing is anything metaphysical you can't prove, or it would be physical. So there's no way to prove any of it, but it's fun to conjecture about and to philosophize about, because asking those kind of questions is, fun.
Well,
it's entertainment.
It's wishful thinking. So, I mean, if you go down that rabbit hole, can you really imagine that the kids that you have lived another life somewhere else? Probably not, right? Like, this is their first life. Why would this be not their first life? They're my children. Like, so what really is the soul? What really is someone's spirit if there's no recollection? Right? It's nothing.
I don't know. Religion doesn't necessarily give anxiety. It can give a lot of hope in it. I guess if you're thinking about it, it was, at least in the way that some people talk about it, it's trying to be an opiate for the people, right? But still, proof of absence, absence of proof isn't proof of absence. You can't say something doesn't exist just because you can't find, evidence of it.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to, because like I said, if anything metaphysical, and this is response to GZB or whoever,
but
metaphysical is by its very nature not going to be observed physically.
But
so
to GZB's point, at least with scientists, it's objective and it's challenged, right? There's peer reviews, there's hypothesis, and if it doesn't pan out, it doesn't pan out, period. With religion, it's closure. It really is wishful thinking. There's so much confirmation. It is nothing but confirmation bias. Never heard of someone having faith for something that is going to be negative in their life. Faith is always revolving around hope. It's always revolving around wishful thinking, right? And so that's the issue with religion, is people are invested in a positive outcome. Science doesn't give a damn, right?
Yeah, and there's really nothing. I don't see anything wrong with that, though. I mean, what's wrong with it?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you don't think I was watching a new video for something that happened, I think, like last year. So that Asian American dude that went over to some Indian island to try to bring Jesus to those islanders that wanted to be left alone, that were doing perfectly okay without modern society. You're familiar with that?
No,
but you have to be familiar with that.
No, but I can imagine it. It's not a.
They killed them with some bow and arrows, right? The indigenous people that were separated from modern society, right? They weren't interested in learning about Jesus, right? They just wanted to live their life. They weren't interested in someone coming over, because every time someone comes over, they usually get enslaved, right? So when you say there's nothing wrong, you said Andaman and Nicobar in India. So when you say there's nothing wrong with religion, I say, sure there is, right? There's something wrong with almost everything. In regards to religion, like it's you think about you think about South America, you think about African Americans, right? One can argue that religion, as much as people may believe that it's divine, right? It really does come from whoever you believe God is. It's also used as a tool to control people, and I would also argue to enslave people, right? And so a lot of African Americans, and I'll be real, a lot of Latin people, they don't really understand why they're Christian. They don't. They haven't researched why they're Christian. They've been told that they are Christian, and that's the difference, right? How many have actually gone above and beyond to make the truth their own, or really research their religion and really come to an appreciation of why it makes sense?
Well,
And for
that's true of pretty much everything, or anybody, though. I mean, but not everyone, but clearly a large majority of people.
yeah,
But I'm suggesting that what's really the big deal? What's wrong with that? I don't know why there's a qualitative problem with that. I mean,
what's wrong with the United States waging war on Islamic states and wiping out probably a million of them, probably within the past 10 years? What's wrong with that?
that's religion, or is that other socio-political, economic? Because
It's
when you have a people that are mostly peaceful, that have no socioeconomic, concerns, they tend not to really wage war. A lot of this stuff goes back to economy and sociology, and religion is just a way to weaponize or manifest it. But that's not what necessarily religion also weaponizes. Hope and helping and other things, just in the
so
same way. But people tend to overlook all the good that's gone along with it as well.
think
So
about the fact that you and I are talking and we're probably like 2,000, 3,000 miles away. Okay.
yeah,
I can I can almost promise you, right? And this can be easily disputed, but I can almost promise you that you and I could have been, or someone like you and I could have been doing this 200 years ago, right? With with some type of technology. But religion kind of prevented that, right? Religion is the reason why Copernicus got burned at the stake. Religion is why so many people get prosecuted. You know who Copernicus is?
yeah. I don't think that it's religion doing those things. I think it's
Okay.
people. I think it's people in general. Religion is just a manifestation of something. If you follow it to its logical end, you're saying that none of this is actually real. What people are saying, then religion is just a manifestation of what's already inside people's
I would
desires
I
to
would
be. If
argue
it
that
wasn't religion, it wouldn't be something else. It would be
I would
something.
argue that religion impedes progress for society in regards to STEM, right? In regards to science, medicine, etc. I would argue that religion it it literally impedes people from evolving, right? So when people are burned at the stake, when people are not free to help others understand why the universe doesn't revolve around them, but we were just nothing but a speck in something a lot greater than us. But this goes against the teachings of the church. Like it really hindered progress for mankind. It did.
But
You're free to disagree with that, but I'm
yeah.
telling you, it did.
But you're saying that religion did that. But what really happened was that people did that, and religion is just a manifestation of certain desire for normalcy or conservatism, which goes to a kind of more of a deeper root in people, where some of us in society have a conservative slant, and are worried and fear change and progress, because that in your psychological mind, means potentially death and stuff. You're safe if you keep things the same. whatever. And there are people out there who are wired differently, who are very adventurous and want progress and change and stuff like that. And when you put the two together, they obviously don't mix, and it creates conflict that has to happen for things to progress. Because if you progress too fast in one way, you can progress the wrong way, and then you can actually harm people just as easy as if you keep conservative viewpoints and you don't change and you don't impede that progress.
That's an opinion.
Yeah, but it is the way it is. That's just like half of society is trying to pull forward and half is trying to keep back. And what happens is that those two conflicting forces like work together to make continual but good progress as society. It just doesn't happen fast and in our lifetime. But
GZB sounds like he's complimenting my statement, right? Regardless of if he's taking a side or not. But he says that for the past 500 years, all social reforms were against religion, like divorce, women voting, gays being banished, and whatnot. And so, like, that kind of supports my argument of like religion, it impedes progress, right? And so, like, it sounds like your argument or your opinion is, well, religion is somewhat necessary. It's somewhat of a, I'm putting words in your mouth, a controlled environment. But I'm saying religion is a group of people that organize their belief in God so that they could be sheltered from their insecurities. Yeah, that's what religion is.
But religion isn't an entity in itself. It's a total thought thing. Everything that we talk about originates with people and their psychological needs and stuff like that. There's religion. If it wasn't religion doing that for the last 500 years, if you didn't have a name like that put on it, it's something completely different. That's just the nature of it. No, I mean, if you take a look at, let's just say, Soviet Russia, the religion was outlawed, I believe, as part of that whole process, and yet there was huge amounts of atrocities and stuff in there with a completely agnostic or a supposedly atheistic society. And so it's just these things, like when we say religion or Catholic Church, it's just people historically. And what we're saying is that because certain people that did things that we don't agree with happen to be part of some particular religion means that religion is the problem. It's not. It's the socioeconomic situation that those people were in. Has nothing to do. It's the same reason why we could say Islam today. So if Islam, if there are bad radical elements of it, which there are, and it drives people to do stuff, there's also very good elements to it that are helping people and doing positive things.
And no one's disputing that. What I am, the argument that I'm making, that I honestly believe it's fact, right, is that religion, right, not sure about Scientology given the name, but religion, it impedes like scientific, technological progress. It does, right? When you have people that are afraid to voice not just their opinions, but thoughtful theories that probably should be tested in the lab or should be tested in general, so that there could be a consensus that, you know what, this isn't just theory, this is law, this is facts, right? When people are intimidated and are afraid to voice that for fear of being killed, right? And that's what happens, right? That is what happened centuries ago with the Catholic Church.
But that's not just religion, though. What I'm saying is that well, Catholic Church is a church, but what I'm saying is that you're saying that the cause is religion, but the cause isn't religion. There's a step behind that. Religion is an effect of a cause that you're attributing to some other effect. But the thing is that there's a cause behind that, which is people's kind of socioeconomic needs that produce religion, which then
and produce
is
governments
a
of
side
will.
effect of it, and there's a correlation between that gravitation towards particular religions and stuff, and these other factors you're talking about. These other factors really have nothing to do with the other, because the thing is that religion can exist in a purely peaceful and progressive way, and it does.
Well, I would argue that it can be peaceful. I'm not sure if religion and progress really go together in the same sentence. I
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, here's another thing: if a religion is completely fake and stuff, and it's none of it's real, then how does it have any power to do anything?
It's people's insecurities. It's the reason why we're still alive.
It's people.
It's fear.
Yeah, it's all built into people's socioeconomic needs, and having a large sect of people that want to maintain the status quo, and that's not a bad thing. Like if you take a society, if you took a small society of people and you had a subsect, everybody was go out and gung-ho and progress and change and try the berries because they might be good. Who knows? I don't care. I'm going to take the risk.
I disagree because
everyone dies.
I disagree because you're speaking as if, and I know I shouldn't use you because now we're making things personal.
Oh, I don't care. We're good.
The way that you are expressing your argument is as if you're making out as if religion is optional, as if religion hasn't been imposed on people, right? We think about hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, where kings or leaders of empires haven't set forth conquest and forced people to convert to Islam, forced people to convert to Christianity, right? It's not as easy as, oh, these people, they want to be protected, and so they voluntarily decide to be a sect of whatever religion. No, that's not the case. It may be the case today, not sure about the future, but that wasn't the case in the past. Like during whatever Ottoman empires, Persian empires, etc. Like it wasn't a choice for you to do ancestor worship in Africa or worship some, I don't know, Egyptian god. Like this stuff is imposed on you. You're going to pay your taxes, and this is your religion. This is the God you're going to worship, right?
Well,
so
most of the time, it wasn't being imposed upon anyone. People were doing it freely and of their own will.
Really?
The vast majority of it probably was because, like you said, once you're told that you are this from birth, you are that from birth, and it's your free choice to listen to people. You don't know any differently. But take the religion out of all that. What you're talking about is imperialism, which is totally secular in its very nature, and it would have happened regardless of any religion, because you had a society based on people wanting to go out and use other people towards their own end. That's imperialism. Is totally secular. Religion is a instrument that is used as part of it, but it isn't the cause of the underlying problem. You can't attribute imperialism to religion. You can't. There's no way to do it. And because the other part of it is that there's plenty of other religions that aren't imperialistic. So you're talking specifically about Christianity, but do we talk about Buddhism in the same way, for instance, which is a religion? Tell me about all the Buddhist atrocities that have existed. And then we can have a discussion about whether religion is the cause of things or if it's some other aspect of humanity.
Religion is a lot of things. It's a group of people that organize together to make sure that people conform to a certain culture. It's also
it's liberalism, modern liberalism.
Yeah, right. So is government.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But now we're talking about but that's just the thing, is that what we're talking about really is any sort of societal construct is
you can't convince me that a whole bunch of Africans, a whole bunch of Filipinos, a whole bunch of people that descended from Mayans and Aztecs worshiping a white Jesus. You can't tell me that that was voluntary hundreds of years ago. You can't tell me that.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
guns
not
in the
saying it
Bible.
was, but I'm not saying that that was religion is to blame for that. I'm saying that was an imperialist, that was imperialist ambition, which is a different
With
societal.
religion as a tool in the utility belt.
Yeah, yeah. As was guns, as was everything,
Okay.
But the underlying cause of all that was people in power having the desire to gain more power and goods and gold and riches, and to be have superiority over other people. And yes, religion is used as part of that, but it's not underlying the cause, because like I said, if religion was in its own nature this evil entity, every religion would have just completely dominated other people, or
GZB,
been bad. He really doesn't like religion.
GZB, he's entitled to his opinion, man. It's
Yeah.
like, instead of attacking him or belittling him, continue making credible arguments to help him understand our side. All right. Like,
No, and no, but the thing is I'm not religious. I'm an agnostic entirely. I've just thought this through a bit in ways where it's I don't one thing is I don't want to ever assume that the experience of another person mirrors my experience, and that religion isn't true because I can't see it. And that science is always accurate, and that science can even do this because science only works within the observable world. You
yeah.
can't observe metaphysical things. It's just the nature of it. So that's why faith is what it is because
okay, what's metaphysical?
Metaphysical is that kind of behind the physics. It's the why of how the world operates. You don't know why. Tell me why gravity exists.
Hold on for 1 second. So, GZB, I like you. We're cool, right? But you have to maintain a certain amount of respect, right? Even if people disagree, right? So, Sean is doing his job of providing counter arguments, right? And it's important to understand both sides, right? He could be playing devil's advocate. He could be, because I'm sure that he could play mind games at times. But like, just keep it respectful, So
And no, it's fine. And the thing is you can't really prove that God is real because, like I said, it's a metaphysical thing. You can't. Science only works within the physical realm. Now we can't even know that there's anything behind that, which is why this is all speculation. But faith in its very nature is belief in something that has no rational. Oh, it's all right. It has no rational basis for it. That is what faith is. It's belief when there's absolutely no rational basis. If there was rational basis, faith couldn't exist.
You keep leaving out an important part of faith, which I already discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Faith is it's an investment in a positive outcome, right? That part keeps getting left out. No one has faith in anything that is detrimental to their life or their health. It's always something. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I agree. That's a lot of what it is a desire for something that they can't, but it's usually born out of like socioeconomic conditions. That's why I guess was it Marx called it the opiate of the people.
If you can't measure it, does it even exist? And my response to that question is, we don't know everything.
Yeah.
We don't know everything on February 5th, 2021. We don't, right? And it would be foolish for any of us to believe that we know everything about science, the universe, medicine on February 5th, 2021. There's things that are yet to be discovered, right? I overdosed on psychedelics. I've seen a lot of stuff, right? Like 7 grams of a psychedelic hit of mushrooms. I've seen things that have yet to be proven. And could it just be my mind playing tricks on me? Absolutely. Chemicals, absolutely. But I know for a fact that when you say metaphysical, I'm not sure if that's the right term because I don't really understand that term by itself. But I will say that there's a lot of things that I can't explain and scientists can't explain today. And there's a lot of things that I really do believe there's a different dimension, right? I've seen it. Could it be, again, could it be a hallucination? Absolutely. But there's some things that were tightly wired into like my childhood that I saw
Yeah.
just recently. And like, how do you explain that? How do you explain the life I lived in somebody else, right? It's weird. I saw some stuff. And so, yeah, I don't think today's science is going to measure everything. So,
Well, yeah, and that's what they say about so when there is like a drug trip or whatever, the thing is you can explain it, but to say, well, because you took drugs, that's what caused it, so therefore it's not real. That's a logical fallacy. It is in its purest form. I think it's called the origination fallacy or something like that, but it is a fallacy. You can't, like I said, the main key point that you can take here is that absence of proof is not proof of absence. It's just not. Like, you can't say just because we can't prove it, it doesn't exist. But you can't say it does exist either with any sort of certainty. That's the part of it. So it's fun to conjecture about, and it might be, if it provides somebody comfort in their life in certain ways, I don't see any problem with it whatsoever. So
if it provides some psychological comfort, yes.
Yeah, because the thing is sorry, we're all just trying to get through. What the heck is wrong with my phone? We're all just trying to get through this big, painful existence of what we're in. And whatever helps make that easier for people, I don't know why anybody would resist that. But I mean, people can resist intolerance of people in any form, and that can be, and certain the willing of your desires and wants in other people. That's the kind of the liberty movement's about, and that's a totally different political topic, but it has nothing to do with religion.
If human mind can control electrons, it can show you whatever you want is actually easier. I agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. I probably gotta get some more coffee and stuff and breakfast maybe before I run to stand up here. So it's fun. I always like talking about religion and
discussing religion and watching people get angry.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, like, so I used to try to have these conversations back, like in high school and stuff like that with people, or even beyond that. And when you start talking about religion, man, there's no, like, it's so hard to find anybody to have just a honest conversation with about it, because it always gets into like the thing is about a lot of religions, like I said, because it's based in irrationality, you can't have logical arguments about it.
And it's part of people's identities.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you attack religion, you attack part of their identity, what they identify as. And it's like, it's the human aspect that's probably the hardest to manage.
Yeah. Yeah. And without it, a lot of people might fall into nihilism. If you talk about, we could talk about existential crisis. This is another topic someday, because existential crises are what people feared would happen if we did drop religion as a holistic thing entirely. That's the work of Nietzsche. That's entirely what he was worried about, is that God is dead. We killed him. And now what? Science killed God. Everybody agrees that God doesn't exist. Now what? Nihilism is a fear that people have, because how do you find any sort of meaning in your life and stuff like that is what it is. So you kind of have to, I think what you have to do, if you really were passionate about trying to rid the world of religion, would be find a way to make people's lives meaningful without it. So
we should study chimps and study gorillas and understand why they're so different.
Yeah. Anyways, I got to run. So it was fun Fun conversation.
Yeah, GZB, it's been real. Religion
Yep.
is still enslaving half the Earth's population. I would say it's enslaving more than half the
Yeah.
Earth's population.
I don't think it has any power. I say people have enslaved half the world's population. It has nothing to do with it. So
I
anyway,
understand your point. I still think religion is people.
yeah. Well,
That's
that's what
like
I'm saying.
saying,
No, that's what I'm saying is, but you're associating it. You're saying religion is the problem rather than the underlying group of people, or like that's what the actual cause is. Religion doesn't do anything on its own.
well, it's a tool. We agree on that.
Yeah, it can it
It's a
can be
tool
used.
that people
Yeah,
employ to
yeah,
control.
just like a gun is, or just like a a sword, or an ideology. Ideology is the same type of thing, and it can enslave people just as well by saying that God doesn't exist and affirming it and having that ideology. That's something you can inflict on people too, and it was done. I mean, it is done. I mean, in communist or communist communities, certain ones where they took the meaning that religion wasn't needed, they forced upon people not to believe, and that's just as much of enslavement as anything else. Especially if those people were living peacefully and just happened to follow certain beliefs, internal beliefs, or societal beliefs. So religion takes on many forms, man.
GZB, why does
I gotta run.
university? All right, see ya.
See ya.
GZB, why does universe need God to exist? I don't think the universe does, but I think most people need God to exist because most people don't want to answer for their own decisions in life. They want to be able to post blame or place their burdens on something greater than themselves. So they post blame on Satan or a wicked world. The reason why they don't have what they have is because it's not their fault, right? And I would think that if you're not in a privileged country, it's probably not your fault, right? If you grow up in Zimbabwe or you grow up in, I don't know, Manila, Philippines, like how much control do you really have over your life? What dreams can you actually accomplish from your childhood as you grow older? And it's like the government doesn't really provide opportunities for that. So I think people rely on religion to shelter them and to comfort them. And within like privileged countries, I think people rely on religion because they don't want to be held accountable for their own decisions. And so it's easier for them psychologically to blame the system instead of to blame their past history or their past series of decisions. So that's my personality. I hope I don't get crucified for sharing my current opinion with emphasis on current. But yeah, it's always an interesting, heated debate. I like when people exchange ideas. Like in India, people are being jailed to speak against religion. Yeah, like India, the Middle East, like it was like blasphemy, right? So if you have a difference of opinion, like I mean, I really do think that's the issue when government decides to sponsor a religion. Like, what are the consequences of that? When the government forces you to live your lifestyle according to what other people believe comes from God, like what message is that really delivering? So it's complicated. It's a very sensitive subject because the people that are free thinkers, if they're not careful, they're the ones that get targeted because they dare to explore their God-given gift. I say God-given. They dare to explore their gift of curiosity, which really does distinguish us from animals, which ultimately gives us dominion over this planet. So it's politics. It's human, and this is the reason why advanced alien civilizations decided to pass on Earth because we're weird people. We're a weird species, and some of the things we do are intelligent. Other things we do are because we're told to do it, and we don't really think twice about why. So people in the West don't understand what religion looks like when it has any power. Uh, okay, true. I would like to think I'm a little bit more conscious than others. And so, like, when I was talking to Sean, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that Latin people and African Americans, right? You can't tell me that Christianity wasn't a tool used on them. How is it possible that a whole bunch of people in South America, most of the population down there, and most of the African Americans, why do they worship a white Jesus, right? How's that possible, right? Through conquest, through slavery, through persecution, like how is it that the European powers have now like enforced the white Jesus on us? That doesn't look like us, can't even relate to it, but that's who people of color tend to worship on the western side of the hemisphere, right, or on the other side of the planet. Like that's religion. That is a tool. That is conquest, right? There's no way, right? You can worship a white Jesus, like and there's no way you can relate to that skin color, right? So anyway, it was out of curiosity. Religion took birth. It was curiosity that will deliver it to its grave. Yeah, I think religion's here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere. Just like people, just like I'm speaking English, and like, I mean, I can speak a little bit of Spanish, but for the reason that Sean and I are speaking English is because we were born to parents that spoke English to us, right? For the vast majority of people that are Christian or Muslim or whatever other religions are out there, it's because their parents told them to be, right? And I don't see that changing. I don't see people changing. It's human behavior. Whatever you're brought up as, that's what you identify as. And majority of people don't second guess it. So that's it. It's really not only after slavery white Jesus took over Africa. It's really not only after slavery white Jesus took over Africa. I mean, okay. I think that it's based on what I said about whatever your parents are, there's a high likelihood that's what you're going to be, right? If you're not that small percentage that actually thinks for himself or herself, in 1,000 years, it will also die. In 1,000 years, I don't think any of us are going to be here. I really don't think so. So, in a way, you're right, if I'm right. So, all right, GZB, it's been real. Take care. Bye. Gambler or whoever else is looking, take care. Adios. Peace. Ending this broadcast. All right, understood. See you.